And hello. Welcome in. This is Magi. We're playing more career mode in Power Wash Simulator while we're chatting about a variety of things. And today, I gave a name to this thing, I'm going to call it the Magicast. And the previous episode is already called like that, and I don't know why. I just figured, hey, it's better than no name. Because if I were to just say, oh, it's about this and this and this and this, I don't know. It needs a name. We had a math teacher a while ago who always kept saying, gib dem Kind ein Namen, which means give a name to the child. Jenny's going to live stream car restoration for the vlog. Don't worry, you don't even know she's there. Funny. So we're just gonna do stuff for 2 hours while we chat about a variety of other topics, The idea for the name was, it came from people saying that it's like a podcast on stream, or that they like podcasts and whatnot. And I was like, cool. Yeah, I mean, basically. It's basically the same thing. But yeah, basically, just wanted to share my thoughts and provide something that people can listen to in the background from time to time. And people who are subscribed to me on Twitch or who support me on Ko-fi will gain it as an additional perk, as something that they can look forward to, that they have early access to, I figured that's fine. It's still got to be something that's public. It's just that they'll have access to, episodes before they come out. Which is fine, I think. Beginning to suspect that this might not be a worthless heap. You think so, too? We'll just take care of this over time. But yeah, today, I don't know, what do we talk about? Lately I've been trying myself at online dating. I figured it would be time that I just get to know some people, talk to others, have a fun time possibly, As in just hang out with folks, go on dates, but just chat with others, Chatting with others is something that brings me joy. I do love it. Love to do it. And I've been trying myself at it, I mean, I've been doing it for a while now. Just looking at people's profiles and trying to get my own profile. And it's a lot of trial and error because I have no fucking clue about it. It's been 5 years since I last was single, so I'm a bit rusty, so to speak. And the things that worked back then, clearly don't seem to work right now. I was scrolling through Esther archives online. Okay. And I basically realized that, okay, it's very different nowadays than it was 5 years ago. And that makes me sound very old, I know. But I don't mean it that way. I mean it as in, a while back, people cared more about profiles. And nowadays, they care more about my age because apparently I'm a bit old. Perhaps. I'm not sure. Perhaps it's my problem. Perhaps it's a problem with me too. I only am looking for people that are, 23 at the youngest, and 27 at the oldest, or something like that, I'd be open to dating someone that is, or going out with someone that is older than me. Don't get me wrong, but I've noticed that nobody that I've ever matched with so far is above the age of 27, so I'd imagine that I should probably stay within that sort of range. Is this the Fifth Amendment? This is the fire chief. We need you to clear your diary. This is a big job. The whole of the fire station needs doing. Nice! We'll do that next. Turns out his car was in Estes' last film, driving me nuts. Oh, really? Cool. Cool, cool, cool. But yeah, online dating is weird. Like, I really hit it off with one person. We ended up talking on the phone for like 2 hours one time and 3 hours at another time, you know? And I'm like, oh, it really seemed to hit it off, you know? And she suggested that we would meet up. And then she ghosted me. Which is like fair, I guess, you know? Maybe they found someone else. In which case, I'm happy for them. But also, I was like, you know, low-key, I was like thinking of, it would be kind of cool to be friends with them, you know? Because it wasn't like quite enough attraction to be like, you know, lovers, I don't think. At least, we haven't like met in person or anything like that, so I don't know for sure, obviously, but it would have been great to possibly be like friends. Maybe. Especially given how much we've been hitting it off on the phone. The film's shocking finale meant it was a flop, and S's final role so sad. Looks like she got to keep the car though. Interesting. Take care of these spots here. Have some tea. Fuck, the tea's hot. Hold up. Oh, it's so good. I had some English breakfast tea earlier. I'm having some mint tea again just now. I might go for some chamomile tea later. Kamille in German. I love tea. I haven't had coffee in a while. Might go for some coffee again at some point, just not right now. Because I don't feel like it. Here we go. Strong cleared. Okay. But yeah, online dating. Is wild. They added these opening moves now, which, like, I'm using Bumble, which is, like, a site where women make the first step, essentially. You know, it's more, you know, subverts expectations and whatnot, you know, and gives women more power, which is a good thing, I think. The issue with that, however, is that a lot of women don't make the first step. So, what they can do is they can select a man can select an opening move, which is basically a question that they can set up that women can choose to answer as their first move. Meaning that essentially it takes the pressure off both sides, because you can just set up something, you don't have to do it like really the same way as others. Let's go with a soap nozzle and metal cleaner here. Flipping ambulance. It's everywhere. It's happening again. The bonnet over here. Bottle's nearly empty. Plastic. Let's go with plastic cleaner then. The hubcap. Hubcap. We got this already. Checking everything again. Yeah. There we go. But yeah, with online dating, I don't have much experience. I'm out of my element. I just keep I get matches, you know, which is a step up, I guess. But I do realize that I'm a bit out of my element. I haven't done it in a while, you know? And like meeting new people right now is a bit inconvenient for me. You know, if you think about it, like you need to go out there somewhere and then you need to find a situation where you're comfortable enough to do it, to, like talk to others, and where they are comfortable like enough to be talked to, and then you need to also have a nerve to annoy them, you know. And I'm sure that plenty of others are also annoying them all the time. So keeping that in mind, I just don't do it. I haven't done it in ages, though. Like, even my last partner, I met through a class that I was in. Like, we got to know each other at university and ended up hanging out more because we lived in the same dorm, as it turns out. And I don't know when I will meet you again. Don't know what it is now. We're still friends. Aha. Door handles, door hinges, and straps. So the only place where straps are is these over here. So there's that. We'll check that out in a moment. Door handle is good. I'll check the door hinges in a moment. We. Haha. And then the door hinges. I also tried hinge. And hinge is a weird one because it's like all based on, yeah, like you've got these compliments that you give to people that also serve as your like introduction to them, but you only have so many letters that you can say. And I don't know what is too much or what is too little, or if there's a meta of sorts, you know? Nice. We got the job done. There you go, it is us. I could swear my costume was different though. Continue. Got the fire station. 1,100 bucks for that? Well, we've only been going for 16 minutes, so clearly we should be able to do this in the remaining time. We'll see. But no. Clothing. Oh yeah, I didn't change it. Oh, purple gloves, cheetah print, dancing on the people. Can I get... I'll buy these, because sometimes we might need them. Do we have any other items that we can get? Power washers. You get the Prime Vista, we need 2,000, so we need to save up for that a bit. Alrighty, we're here. Got a ladder. We've got a step stool over here. And we've got over here as well the, this thing. Which is gonna be useful. To do that. Let's first start with maybe the inside. Oh boy. I'm not gonna hit tab in this room. Because it's just a flashbang, essentially. There we go. Oh my god. Anyways, so yeah, Hinge is a bit different because you basically make these compliments to people that you kind of match with, but like you don't match with them, you know, they just receive a compliment. And you can only do it so many times per day. So to do it more, you need to pay up, and I'm not going to pay up, you know. I'm a free-to-play player, and as it stands, you know, I try to go as far as I can without paying money in any game that is like a gacha game or something like that, you know. And I've been doing that for a while. It's like one of my hobbies. I love doing that. It's actually pretty satisfying when you get pretty far or get to contest with lots of people or get, you know, to collect all the items and stuff like that, you know, even without spending a single dollar. And with online dating, I don't want to pay that because it's kind of like in Diablo Immortal, you know? Online dating is like Diablo Immortal. You can have fun, but eventually there will be a point where you are gambling, you know? It's not like you can... like you get success by paying money. It's more so that you have a chance of getting success. And that sucks. In Diablo Immortal, you know, monetization was weird. In that you essentially got to buy these resources that you needed. But also, when you went onto into a dungeon, you could increase the odds of legendary gear from that dungeon dropping. Using, like, this currency that you buy. as a result, you would end up with situations where you essentially can't get the drop you need, and it takes like tens of hours, 20s of hours, you know. Takes a long time. And then, because of that, you would spend money. Like some people would do that. I didn't do it, I just quit. Because I realized it's just gambling. To increase the chance, you know, not even guaranteeing the drop, you know, but increasing it altogether. And at some point, I think reportedly, like, I don't know, I haven't experienced it myself, that part, because I stopped playing quite a while before I got to any point like that. There was stuff that you only could get if you paid as well. And it was no longer gear progression based, but rather grind progression based, you know? Just getting to a specific point required you to either grind for like hundreds of attempts, which some games do. Like, some games do that. And I think that's fine. But it's either that, or you pay some money to get through this dungeon quicker. Possibly, you know, where you suddenly, instead of 400 attempts, you only need, like, what, 100? Not even. Like, it's a chance, so it's not guaranteed to drop, or anything like that. Which I found appalling, because that's just gambling, you know? Imagine if you could increase the odds of getting a specific outcome for one number in a slot machine. That's the same way that works. And yeah, with Hinge and with Bumble, it's weird, because, like, you basically can see who swiped right or left on you. In Bumble. That's the B line. Get it? Okay. Their marketing is pretty nice. I like the puns. But you basically can pay for that. But it costs like $16 per week. Think about it. And again, like, if you go on a date with someone, chances are you'll pay more money as well. And it might not work out and everything. Paying 16 euros every single week for that feature is not going to give you success. It might give you more matches, but those people might ghost you as well. They might just no longer be active on the platform. They might already have found a partner, so they're no longer looking, etc. Maybe you don't hit it off, you know. They're just interested in you based on your profile. And as such, there's no guarantee for success. You just pay money to have a higher odds of getting success. In which case, it's kind of similar to Diablo Immortal's gambling gacha. Which I find wild. I wish there was a pity system in online dating. I need that. Date me out of pity. Kidding. But no, you get what I mean, possibly. I don't know. I don't hear anyone disagreeing, right? We have somebody. No, on a more serious note, on Hinge you can buy more roses, meaning more compliments. You can give to more people. On Bumble, you have only so many swipes. But if you have a Bumble Premium thing, you know? Did I do the floor up here already? Yes. But yeah, if you have Bumble Premium, you have unlimited swipes and likes and whatnot. And you can do it like as much as you want. And you can see who is interest in you. You know, which is cool in a way, but also I'm not sure how that works with incognito. I mean, the incognito mode is, by the way, also featured as premium only, where you only get suggested to people that you liked yourself. Which I find is a cool feature. Like, imagine finding your siblings on your dating profile. Like, while, you know, in your area or something like that, you're dating and then you see your siblings on there, you know? You just hit no on them. And all of a sudden, they don't see your profile. which is a cool feature, in my opinion. Especially when you have like people to worry about, like your boss at work, or your lecturers, your fellow students, your friends, etc. You don't want them to know that you're dating, out there dating already. And I don't know, it's like cool features, but they're not accessible to everyone, you know? And you have to pay for them. And it kind of makes money off of the fact that people are lonely, you know? People are lonely, so they make money off of that. And it keeps them on the platform because they keep swiping. And swiping in itself is something that is serotonin inducing, you know? It's fun to do, first of all, because you get to judge people, but also because you get to have a chance of winning big. And the same thing that slot machines work on, you know. Slot machines are fun and satisfying, you know, to use. And as such, they're successful. Because just playing them has all the pretty colors, all the shapes and whatnot, the sound effects, and you might win something, you know? Gambling. Bad. Like, loot boxes work the same way as well. Which is why a lot of them are banned in Europe. Because in games that are accessible to a lot of children, you don't want them to suddenly get addicted to gambling. Or possibly buy a lot of these loot boxes using their parents' credit cards or something like that. Of course, their parents are at fault in a way too, but, you know, let's not... You know, Epic Games, for instance, had a long history of not refunding stuff like that. The customer support sucked, you know. Whenever there were these cases of fraud, of like fraudulent purchases, because someone's child got the credit card and bought a lot of V-Bucks or whatever they're called, you know. Whenever that happened, you know, the support wouldn't react for extended periods of times, you know, extensive periods of times, because, you know, they didn't have to. Unless someone threatened to sue, you know, in which case they would react. But most of the people would just say, okay, child, we learned a lesson here today. I can't trust you on the internet. You lost my trust, child. No, father. You know, stuff like that. Anyways, where was I? Gambling. Gambling bad. We can agree on that. But I do believe that stuff like being able to buy faster access to games is not inherently bad. Because again, games need to make money, or else, how else are they gonna, you know, keep existing? Because server costs are a thing, you need to pay the developers, you need to maintain servers, you need to develop new features, etc. Live service games will be around for ages, you know? I mean, you've got League of Legends, which has been around for ages, and they do give players new content, kind of, you know? It's a live service game, it's a game as a service, and I don't think games as a service are bad inherently. Like, look at... Okay, again, look at League of Legends. Look at, I think Final Fantasy counts too, right, in a way. Well, you have the base game, and it's finished, you know. It's a game that is fully developed and everything, you know. And over time, they add more and more content to it, in the form of expansions or season passes or whatever. There's events, etc. You know, I'm not sure if that's the case with Final Fantasy because I haven't played much of it, but I know for a fact that it's like that in League of Legends and Legends of Runeterra, etc. TFT and Valorant. And I think that works, you know. Okay, let's not use Final Fantasy as an example because I don't know enough about it. Instead, let's talk about League of Legends. So in League of Legends, you have a full game. The game is playable, even, you know, it's not like in development or anything like that. It's not in early access. There's no missing features, you know. You can keep playing the game as you want, and you don't have to pay any money at all. Destiny as well. You don't have to, like, there is a lot of content in the game. And if you want, you can get an expansion to access some new content. But also there's like the battle passes with specific events and whatnot, you know? Helldivers is inherently a live service game, but the difference is that you don't have to, like, you can buy a new battle pass using money. But you can also just not do that and grind a bunch, you know? And I think that's fine. And, like, the content doesn't go away. So there's no FOMO. Which is good. But something that I do think is that when it's like games, for instance, like, what's it called again? I'm thinking of a game right now. Hold up. There's a roguelike that I haven't played that was free to play. Let me just go into Steam collections. No, wait, there was like, it was also in like the songs that I liked. There was a playlist I had that had all the songs of it, and they're all called the same name. And what was it called again? I'm just, hold up, I'll pause here. Right as I paused, I remembered. Let It Die. I remembered. Right as I paused here, I remembered what it was called. Isn't that classic? Let It Die is sort of a Souls-like, as in very difficult action roguelike in 3D that is free to play on Steam. Go check it out. And the game inherently is, you know, you can beat it for free, but it's excruciating in terms of the grind, you know. You can reach all the content you want. You can grind certain bosses and stuff to get materials, to get a specific item like that you need to have a higher success chance with a certain boss, you know, etc. Combat is janky as well. But it's like, it's gotten this sort of cult status over the years because it's so terrible and grindy, you know, and so excessive that it's like low-key good. I don't know. And the soundtrack is a banger. Like the developers, essentially, the designer, went ahead and licensed a lot of musical artists, you know, like a lot of musicians to make a song for the in-game soundtrack, and so they were licensed, meaning that they got the rights to the songs in the game. Which is, first of all, very cool, because it also means that those artists got paid a lot more than they usually would have been for this kind of job. But also, they had to call it, the only requirement they had was, they could literally make any music, you know? But the only requirement for it was that they called the track Let It Die. So any player can now say that their favorite track from that soundtrack is called Let It Die, because it's all of them. All of them are very good. With J-pop and some English music as well, and metal and electronic music. And it's just a banger, you know, banger soundtrack. And, but yeah, that game essentially has a system where you have these checkpoints as well to reach different areas of a level, and some of it is paywalled, and so it becomes more grindy because of that as a free-to-play player. But also you have revives that you can buy as for real money. You can, I think, grind those, but it takes ages, so it's just not worth it to use them on like any death. At the same time, you can increase the drop chances for specific materials using money, which is wild to me. But also, in the end, you know, that's like grind taken to an extreme, you know? It's not necessarily bad, you know. No, it is actually really bad. But there's a YouTuber who did play it, like all of it, for free. And made like a documentary of sorts, you know? On that. Highlighting the design of it. Just look for Let It Die. You'll find it probably. Hold up. Maybe I should look for it after all. My bad. Let It Die game. There you go. I found it. It's the. Oh. Ross Boomsocks also made a video on it a year ago. But the video there's also a review by IGN. There's also Zero Punctuation, you know, the escapists have this series called Zero Punctuation where they talk about stuff, and yeah, there's a playthrough of it as well online. But yeah, the video I meant is pay $1 to revive. It says on the thumbnail. It's a 47-minute video by someone called PsycheDC. Hold up, I'll probably just grab it and full screen it and show it to you guys over on here. This video by PSEYCHIE_DC. Well, a video essay. 47-minute long. The Death of Skill-Based Games. Analyzing Let It Die, a pay-to-win roguelike.
Which is monotonous grind and pay-to-win microtransactions to succeed instead. There are,
as you could see right there, it's great, you know, I don't know. In today's special upload, I'm going to analyze an attempt at a live service roguelike known as Let It Die. After an arduous journey of over 46 hours, I beat the odds and completed the main game. Let this game be a lesson how a live service take on the roguelike genre doesn't work, but I'm also not against the idea of one assuming it gets done right. I've seen a lot of players quit at around the floor 20 mark, so no. I didn't quit at floor 23. I pushed through. Suck it. And it's got like a bunch of stuff. It's not a Souls-like. It's like a 2016 title that was. Oh, there's a video. I really enjoyed it. Would love to see more like this sort of content. Subbed right away. There's my video. There's my comment on it. It's still around. Was my comment the last comment? I don't know. I liked this guy's channel a lot, so I don't think he needs a shout out because he's got 83,000 subs and I have 100. But he does a lot of Dead Cells content. And I do recommend his videos a lot. Last uploaded 10 months ago. I still love... Oh, a year ago. Oh. Anyways, do recommend the channel. Maybe he'll come back. Anyways, I really like that video there. And basically what I wanted to say was, because I've been going in circles for a while now, Later Day is pretty cool. But it's also excruciatingly hard and like crazy difficult and crazy grindy, you know. And it takes ages to get through, obviously. Like 46 hours, you know, for a free-to-play title is good if you factor in that most of it is spent grinding. If you don't factor in that it's mostly grinding. I'm gonna go for this to get rid of the graffiti. And then back to a 15-degree nozzle, because I like it so much. And we'll just take care of this. And yeah, there's a lot less dirt now than there was before. What I wanted to say, though, was that live service games aren't inherently bad, you know. They can work. I mean, look at League of Legends. I don't feel like it's predatory in the slightest, aside from some more recent stuff, you know? Like, you can get all the skins, theoretically, for free. Via chat, well, all of them, but with a asterisk, you know? Like, you can't get all of them, but there are a lot of skins you can get for free, you know? And nothing gives you a benefit in-game. Like, nothing is actually pay to win. It's just literally just cosmetics that are purely cosmetic. And you can get those for free too. You can play to get those, and they're fun. I do think that it's a good way to support the developers, you know, with something that brings you joy, but also they make money from it, and they get to keep the game free to play, which is good, I think. You know, I like that monetization aspect, you know, I like the aspect of just, oh, nothing you buy has an effect on how well you play, and you don't have to buy anything, literally. But if you do, you get your money's worth out of it. You get like a skin at this price that does this stuff. You know, it has like, it looks very, it's just a reskin. You get this cosmetic that also changes your voice, but it costs a bit more, you know? Oh, this one over here has other voice lines and special effects, you know? Cool, you know? You kind of, like, I feel like they communicate quite well that, you know? And that is to say, that was a while ago. Nowadays, there's been more and more controversies with Riot Games specifically, who released, like, $500 skins. Like, what in the world? Or, like, $200 skins that are, essentially, you need to grind these loot boxes that you need to buy to be able to get that skin. By which I mean you need to buy like $200 worth to get a skin guaranteed, you know? Which is wild to me. And the $500 skin as well is a thing, and people boycotted a whole champion, because of that, you know? Drill to our ground floor. We need to still do this. Yes. There's some more over here. Love me Say that you love me. Oh, how you feel me. Say that you love me. Anyways, what I wanted to say was that it can be done well. You know, live service games can be done well, but the way people are doing it, you know, and by people I mean developers, big developers like Square Enix, you know, they a while ago released a Babylon's Fall, which is sort of like imagine a game, a dungeon crawler sort of, you know, it can be played with up to 3 other players, where you each don't have classes but a near automata-esque weapon system with different weapons that you equip. You can have like 4, you know, 1 per hand, and then you have 2 extras. And they each have like an ability and a normal attack. So you can be a healer if you want to, but also deal damage. Or you can be like a tank of sorts with shields and stuff, you know, or shoot bows and the like, you know. In the end, it was a cool system. But the game itself, and I wrote a blog post about it that is way too long. The game failed because it was unfinished. It was an early access title that came at a price tag of $70. Released by AAA developers, which is not what early access is about, by the way. Early access isn't necessarily, let us release an unfinished game and charge insane amounts of money, you know, the game wasn't finished. There was no guarantee for it to be finished ever at all, because there's a lot of early access titles that get just... Early access gets often used as an excuse to not finish a game. You know? It's weird. Stairs? I think we're done with the inside. Now onto the outside. Early access isn't that, necessarily, you know? But it's being treated like that, and I hate that. Because it's bad for developers that genuinely want to finish a game, you know? And that want to work on a game, but need, like, the extra funds that they get from early access. From, like, releasing it early on, even at a discount, you know? Compared to the full release, which will come later. Anyways, long story short... What Babylon's Fall did was they had this fully priced game that is unfinished. So new content is planned over time and will be added as the game evolves, as the game gets further developed. So a lot of the end game content doesn't exist. At the same time, though, Babylon's Fall also featured microtransactions. So you had cosmetics that you didn't... You pay $70 for a game, and you don't even get, like, the cosmetics that you find. You have to open them with keys and whatnot, you know, which is insane if you think about it. If you think about it, you pay $70 for a game, and there's cosmetics in the game that you can't even access without paying more money. And then you play the game more and more, and notice that there's more and more issues. For instance, if you play solo, because there's not been too many players in the game, so of course you play solo, the game is balanced around multiplayer. So instead of having a game that is perfectly fine in single player, and it ramps up in difficulty the more players are in the lobby, because, you know, if you have 2 players, you obviously need a boss fight that has more, like double the health than a single player boss. No, the bosses are always, like, the game is always the same difficulty. At 4 players, it's like a moderate difficulty, depending on, like, the level of the dungeon and everything. So it can scale up to hard, for instance. But in single player, that is already hard mode. Like, the boss health doesn't scale down. How strict? Still loving spraying your jet around? Yes. I loved to spray my jet around. Narrowly missed out on another RV today. This thing was uglier than a chihuahua chewing a wasp, but it would have been my little wasp chewing choo-choo. I don't know what they're on about. But yeah, basically, the game was not finished. A lot of the endgame content wasn't there. You have to get cosmetics in-game that you... Like, if you unlocked loot, you know, you had to, like, still buy the cosmetics in the game. There's microtransaction inside the $70 early access game, you know. Like, before endgame content was implemented, before dungeon customization and more tile sets and decorations for the dungeons were introduced into the game already had a fully functional microtransaction shop inside the game. Before they addressed any of the issues, like the performance issues, the balancing issues, the grindiness, the fact that you don't have like cosmetics free to play for the game, but you do have fully, like, full cosmetics, skins that you buy on top of a $70 game, you know. Before they did any of that, they ended up adding a battle pass system with seasons, which is something you do as a developer of a live service game when your game is finished and fully functional. You don't add it as a... You don't add it as early as early access, you know, literally 2 weeks after release. It tells you a lot about their priorities. And that's a problem with with live service games. I don't think they're bad. I don't think that they don't function. Like, Hearthstone works. Legends of Runeterra is now working. It didn't work before. We can talk about that in a moment. But live service games as a whole are not supposed to be whale hunting spots, you know? Where you just... But they're being treated as such. And that sucks. That is really bad. You know? And by whale hunting spots, I mean just like a trap for whales. Meaning people who spend a lot of money on games. Like on Genshin or on other gacha games, for instance. As just an example, you know? For some of these, like, gacha games, etc., mobile games, and not, you know. And there's a lot of them. And I think that's fine, you know, everyone is responsible for their own things, but just abusing them, you know, by creating a foundation, like $200 skin in League of Legends, or $70 Valorant skins, you know, etc. I don't know if that's good, you know. Like in Valorant, I kind of get it, because the weapons have, like, a special effect, and it's not like you only use them once. Or anything like that, you know? It's like you use them on every single character. And there's no other cosmetics in the game, there's just weapons and knives, right? In the games, they stick around, like, they don't rotate out guns. Like, the guns stay the same every single season. Even with new battle passes coming. And then there's also stickers and sprays that you can get, and emotes, I guess, and stuff like that, and keychains for your weapons. And I love that. I think that's good. And again, they only charge money through that. You also can unlock agents faster with that, but you can also just play the game and get the agents, like, as a free-to-play player. Which is, I think, very good. I think that's a better way of doing it compared to locking it behind a DLC or locking it behind... Like, Overwatch does it in a way that is a bit iffy, where it just takes very long to grind, you know, for a specific character, and you can just buy them, and at the beginning they're overtuned as heck, so buying them is gonna make it so that you'll have an advantage as a player, because you play a character who's probably too strong, and also who people don't know how to play against. Oh no, nearly fell over. Don't want to see that happen. Oh boy, we have to be a bit careful here. That took a while, man. I don't think this is a job for 2 hours. Maybe this one's gonna be longer. We'll see. Last time I had to cut it short a bit because I had to make food and also get ready for stream. Let's go do the backside first. Let's go to the backside. I wish this would align to the wall. Whatever. Oh, that was so loud. I'm out of tea. I'll be back. I'm back. I don't know why I did that. You don't even notice that I'm back because I just paused the recording and then I continue. We were talking about Gamba. Right, so I don't think that live service games as a whole are flawed. I think they can work out. And in fact, getting more content past the initial release of a game is something that is incredibly common in indie games. And I do play mostly indie games, you know? Like, look at Talented or Dyson Fold, for instance. Dyson Fold is fully released. It's a full game, you know? And there will be more content added to the game over time. But even if not, that's fine. And I think that's much healthier for the health of the game and for the mental health of the developers to say, okay, the game is fully released. We don't have to put more content out there, but we want to. And yeah, it's good. Look at Stardew Valley. Massively successful. The developer, Concerned Ape, could theoretically get DLC out there to make more money. In fact, it would be amazing if he did. But he won't. Because he doesn't need to. It's very good, I think, for the health of a game to do that, you know? And he's working on another game as well, on top of that, you know, on top of the game that is, on top of the content that is already planned, you know. We just had a new update, which is pretty exciting. How the hell did they do this? How did they get graffiti on over here? Gee. Must have been indeed a flying cat. Anyway, so long story short, I don't think that live service games are inherently flawed. I think the idea of adding more content past the initial release is good, and monetizing a game that way can work out. It's just that we shouldn't treat live service games as early access games. And that's something that developers are doing, sadly. AAA developers, that is. They're treating it as an excuse to release an unfinished game and add more content later on. And most of the time, they prioritize adding more ways of monetizing the game, you know? Rather than... I missed a spot there. So this is done. This one still takes a bit. Here we go. So, yeah, there's that. And to get back to my original point about online dating, which I guess this was about, it's kind of like a lot of the time gacha games and like free mobile games that are not actually all that free because you have like the gacha mechanics, you know, they lock awesome content behind a timed gate, you know. You basically need to complete specific content within a certain amount of time, or else you won't ever get it back. And that sucks. It's not great, because it basically makes it so that you utilize FOMO. A while ago, I saw this video on like Piratesoft. Piratesoft, for Pirate Software, 4 is cool, and does have a lot of awesome takes, but sometimes he misses, and that's fine. We all do. I mean, I sometimes have good thoughts, and sometimes I have bad thoughts. Sometimes I say things that are weird. Can I put this over here? I guess this works kind of. Maybe I should use the soap nozzle with some multi-purpose stuff. We've got 17 liters. That should be fine. In that one video, it was like a re-upload of something, which is also by the way. Yeah. But basically, he was talking about how cosmetics that are gated behind a time, limited time only cosmetics are not FOMO because they're not part of the gameplay, they don't utilize FOMO. And I'm like, no, it's still FOMO. It's still the fear of missing out that gets triggered by those, I think this doesn't work quite yet. Maybe we'll use this again. Yeah, this is working. It's still FOMO because it's still the fear of missing out. Like if I look at real life, for instance, where FOMO is actually from, FOMO is the fear of missing out. So, if I see, for instance, there's a party that I want to go to, but I don't have the spoons or the time, or energy capacity, the social capacity to go to it, I will still possibly pressure myself into going there. Not because I have to or anything like that, but because I fear that I have the fear of missing out on something cool that is happening. That feeling that you get when all the people afterwards, like in your friend circle, they're all going to this party or this event, and something very cool happened, and they all talk about it, but you were not invited, or something like that, Sorry. I think that sucks. That feeling sucks. But it's just the way it is. I think if I do this, I can reach that. So, fear of missing out is basically just legit the fear of missing out on something cool happening, basically. And when a game has a timed event, content that is gone forever after a while, that's bad. Battle passes only work the way they do because you have to, because players want to experience all the content, of the game. And if they don't play the game a lot all of a sudden, then they might miss out on these cosmetics. A game that does that really well, though, that handles that very well, is Deep Rock Galactic. There is a season that is incredibly long, and you have content in that season that you can only experience through it. It might return into the future, but for the time being, it's locked, and it might eventually vanish in the near future. That said, cosmetics that you might earn through this free battle pass system can still be earned later on by finding a cage, which gives you a location on the map. You go there and you scan a helmet, and then you get a cosmetic that was previously part of a battle pass from a previous season. That's no longer available. Same with like the costumes, like the hairs and whatnot. Those are purchasable after, like later on. You don't have to worry about them too much. Like they'll come back in due time, like the hair colors. And I've, like, a lot of people, like, cosmetics will make use of FOMO in that regard, you know? When it's a timed exclusive event, you know? Something that you can only get now, that utilizes FOMO. And a lot of people say, well, that applies to cosmetics as well as gameplay elements. But 4 said that, no, it doesn't apply to cosmetics because it doesn't change, like, you don't need the cosmetics to play the game, you know? But that's just his opinion, you know, and it's valid that he thinks that way. But as it stands, that is also FOMO. And cosmetics very much are something that you can be afraid of missing out on. Oh no, I died on the job from fall damage, I guess. Pick this up. Got one wall completed, one more remaining. Let's do this and get up here. Cosmetics are something that I think it's better if we turn this around. Because then I have the open side on this end and nothing in the way. Nothing gets in the way of my fun here. Fantastic. We got that. So, like, cosmetics are, like, collecting skins and cosmetics and the like, you know, are something that some people look forward to. Like, I love getting all the weapons in games like Monster Hunter, even if it's excruciatingly grindy, and even if owning one of each is not optimal at all, I love having the option to do that, you know? And in that way, I do think that having something that is locked behind a wall, I'm glad that like a timed thing, I'm glad that Monster Hunter doesn't do that. 4 said that, I believe it wasn't really, not even like gameplay elements, but more so stuff like, oh, if you say there's gonna be like, I don't know. Oh, you can now get this limited time offer with 200% value on buying these microcurrency, like this currency, premium currency, you know. Raid Shadow Legends does that a lot. Raid Shadow Legends does that. AFK Arena does that as well, where you can get a bundle of swords that is only available for the next 24 hours, or for the next 2 hours. You have the option of getting this bundle for $24.99, and if you don't get it now, it's going to be gone forever. So better be quick. And it actually is a really good value, but you're only getting urged, like you only get it, you only buy it because you got pressured into it, because it's going to be gone forever. And what if you need it later, you know? And most of the time, like, people will just say, no, I don't need it. I don't want to buy it, anything, you know? But some people might take the hook after getting pressured into it. And then what happens is that those people might just end up, because they bought something already for the game, they're more likely to buy something again for the game, you know? Which is problematic, you know? It's like the... Oh. I'm superhuman, I swear. Okay, let's take care of Windows. It's something that people do, you know? And people don't like buying stuff in free games, you know? But once they've done it once they've seen something they like and they buy it once, you know, they might do it again. And they will do it again. Because that's how that works, you know? You basically get them to bite once. And then afterwards, they're more likely to submit to the urge of possibly wanting to. They're like, look, I'll just buy something. And then what those games do is then when you buy this currency that you need to buy cosmetics, you know, because they don't let you just buy, like, yo, you pay $20, you get the skin. No. You buy currency for $25. Or you buy currency for $10. But it's never enough for just the skin, you know? So you have a skin that you buy and then you have some leftover currency. And then you see that the next skin that you could get, you know, isn't too far off from this. So you end up buying some more currency. And as such, you've got some left over, you know? In restaurants, they do it similarly as well with, like, tips, you know? They incentivize people to tip by rounding up. Or, like, when you order takeout, you will always end up either just a bit below, like, you will always end up a bit below the minimum amount to order something, you know? Which sucks. And then you need to buy maybe some small fries as well with it. Which isn't much of a big deal, but over time it adds up. You just end up, okay, like the minimum amount to order here at this restaurant is $10. But to order takeout, you know, you need $10, but the burgers are like $7. And if you get another burger, it's gotta be like, you gotta be at 14, you know? But if you get like, and the drinks are not included, but you also want a drink, you know? So you need to buy that. And then all of a sudden you're paying $20 for your order. Because you might as well do something more, you know? And I think that's kind of predatory. But nobody questions it, right? Because that's just how they operate. I mean, you could have just picked it up instead, which is cheaper. But also, you know. I don't know. People don't do it as much because it's a convenience thing, you know? Which is fine, it's valid. It's just that... like, strategies like that are used everywhere. Because they work, you know, they're well established as a means to get people to buy more than they really need or want to buy, you know? And yeah, FOMO is not just that, but also like timed. If you put a time limit on content or on a skin or something like that, cosmetic, it creates FOMO for people. It's not just gameplay elements that are FOMO. Which is something where I would disagree with because he said it like that. At least that seemed to have been his points, and everyone in his chat disagreed, and everyone in the comments to that video also disagreed. And it's fine, like sometimes we have opinions that are different from other people's opinions, and I think that's beautiful. I think it's good that we have different opinions, you know? Having different opinions is very, very good, because it means that we get to have discussions like this, you know, and talk about what is good and what is bad, you know? I don't think that utilizing FOMO is... I think it's predatory, for sure. But I don't think it's, like, the worst of all. Like, there's worse things right there. Like, loot boxes. Loot boxes bad. And I'm glad that cosmetics in games like Helldivers and Deep Rock Galactic, for instance, are... not gated like that, necessarily. You can unlock everything yourself if you just play enough, you know? Or you play a long time during the pass period, you know, where the free pass is available, and then you unlock it by playing a bunch, or you buy a DLC, in which case you get to support the developers, but also get some skins that are exclusive to that DLC that you can't get anywhere else. which I think is good. I think that's an okay way of doing it. I don't think that having cosmetics as a skin or like a DLC or whatever not is all that bad. I think that's a good way of monetizing a game further past release, you know? Of course, there will be use cases, you know, where you can somehow abuse that and make it predatory or bad, you know? But for the most part, I think that's much healthier than microtransactions, you know? It's the lesser evil, so to speak, you know? But whenever people do that, people give developers shits, but, like, you know, how are you expecting a game to be, like, funded and whatnot, you know? Like, if... especially in this economy. And yeah, to get back to the original point, online dating, right. Online dating kind of makes use of the fact that people are lonely, because people will keep using the apps to essentially get eventually success. People are lonely, and they have a fear of missing out, because they might miss a match, so they keep staying on this map. And when they're out of likes, a lot of them will buy more likes. They will use that feature, and that's because they're lonely, and they might miss out on the right person, you know? Which is bad. And yet, here I am using them, you know? Look at me participating in capitalism. Criticizing capitalism while... capitalism. There we go. Cataclysm. Gee. Okay, can't reach that. I don't think if there is anything in terms of dirt over there. Criticizing capitalism while I participate in capitalism, you know? A world without money would be great, but my bank informed me that I have no money. And it doesn't feel all that great right now. Though, does it? But yeah, in Helldivers, for instance, the battle passes that you can unlock, you know, there's premium battle pass, there's premium currency, and you can buy it if you want to. But as it stands, you don't have to ever. Because, like, if you play just enough rounds, you know, you'll get enough super credits for free so that you don't have to do that at all. I'm gonna use the soap nozzle again with a multi-purpose cleaner. Here to get rid of this a bit easier. Because it's this lichen here. And dirt streaks and lots of grime. Extension. Short impressor while still being able to be used quite close to surfaces. And yeah, I don't like. Yeah, we can criticize stuff and still make use of it. Like, I hate how expensive bread has gotten. Hey, look at me, I'm still using bread. Right? I don't think that's... I don't get the, oh, here you are criticizing the system and yet you're part of it yourself. You know? Like, of course I'm part of it. I'm not gonna go into exile because of this. Because how am I gonna be able to criticize something if I'm not gonna be if I'm not part of a system? It's only by being part of a system that you can criticize something, you know? And it's only by using dating apps that I know what's bad or good about them. If I were to make my own dating app, it would be different. I'd say, but I don't know how to fix any of the issues I have. I can't help but notice that your ad says power wash. You do realize that it involves hot water. You should not change the wording on... You should change the wording on your ad to pressure wash. Unless you're planning on something. Unless you're planning on an upgrade soon. Does Power Wash really require hot water? Good for thought. But yeah. Online dating. I think something that people struggle with a lot, including me, is being male. It sucks. And something I noticed as well, like a lot, like YouTube, like I forgot getting like YouTube Shorts, you know. I've been like watching YouTube Shorts every now and then, you know. I know, they're terrible. And then I noticed that they go from the puns and weird jokes and stand-up stuff and cute animals and cooking videos that I like to watch. Sometimes they go over to very wild and unhinged commentary from like weird podcasts that are just like, oh yeah, they're just talking out of their arse about how women should be or shouldn't be and stuff like that, you know. And a while ago I got this like channel was recommended to me called Alpha Mentality, which is a German alpha male fluencer channel, you know, like those podcasts and whatnot, you know, but without the podcast. Where the person in question, I'll call him Kevin, the Alpha Kevin. Kevin basically talks, I don't know their name, so I don't know their pronouns. I'm just going to refer to them as they or him, you know. I'd imagine that he doesn't like pronouns, so based on his content. And I sometimes watch those videos. Ironically, like not ironically, but like I watch it together with a female friend, and we talk about the problematic nature of those videos and what exactly is different, you know. And I get like a female perspective on stuff. I also get to share my perspective as someone that is left. There was a light here. I didn't even realize. Jeez, that looks way different. I didn't even realize. But yeah, basically, I watched those videos and with a friend. And there was like a video about signs that a woman is attracted to you. And I figured, hey, that sounds like a fun video to watch with a female friend that is asexual. You know, wouldn't it be funny? So we ended up watching it together. And that one, like that half-hour video basically turned into like 2-hour-long discussions about what's problematic about stuff. Like, we didn't get past the first few minutes without discussing the boob up. And I figured, what is a boob up, you know? And we ended up talking about it, you know? And it was basically just about, apparently, when a woman is attracted in you as a man, they will suddenly do something that Kevin called the boob up. Again, I don't know if their name is Kevin. I just assumed. They reminded me of someone called Kevin. Their voice sounded like a Kevin I used to know. Maybe it's the same person, actually. Who knows? But basically, the boob up is basically a posture check. They just sit up straight. You know? Check their posture so that they don't slouch, etc. And their belly goes in and their chest goes out. It's something that literally every single human does when they encounter a stranger. Not just someone that they're attracted to, but literally just any single person. You check your posture, you don't want to slouch or look stupid, you know? Most people do that, at least. And I think that's fine. I don't think it's a signal of any kind. But hey, go off. You know, who knows? Maybe I'm too blue-pilled to realize or something like that. So, then he continues to talk about like the posture that women have, and when their arms are crossed, they're interested in you. When their arms are open and the posture is open, they're into you as well, though. When their legs are crossed, they're into you. But if their legs are open, oh yeah, then they're into you. And also, when they look away from you, they're into you because they clearly are so love-struck that they have to avoid your gaze. But at the same time, when they look at you or in your direction, they're into you. You can see a pattern here. It was literally 14 or 15 signs of them doing one thing that couldn't be clearly seen as someone being uncomfortable or someone being in a position where they don't seem attracted to you, but he just called it like interest, you know? And then there's 14 signs that were just the opposite of that. The boobab is like the one extra sign that is just something perfectly, like, you know, it was like 30 in total or something like that, you know. Maybe it was 28, I don't know. The boobab was weird, you know. Like, if they are with a friend, you should bother them. Stuff like that, you know. That's the advice he had. And, hey, you talking about me? You like me? Want to see my cock? Stuff like that, you know? It's so weird. It's almost as if he's never seen any person before. Which is fine, you know, even if he hadn't, you know, he's just like selling that stuff, you know? And then he also has like a list of books that you can check out and whatnot with an affiliate link for Amazon. And this is rough. This place over here, look. Gonna laser this. But basically that's that, you know? And there was a few videos of him that I really liked. As in, like, they were very funny to me. Because they're so far away from anything that is real, you know? Like, and I don't fault him, you know? Look, he's making a business out of the fears and the worries of modern men. And I don't think that he's like the fault for the fears and worries or the toxic masculinity, the fragile masculinity, you know, in society. He's just a symptom. Same with Andrew Tate. I don't think that Andrew Tate is the issue, but more so he's a symptom of a deeper issue. Of course, we shouldn't, like, listen to him. But he's like a symptom to it because there's a lot of underlying issues, you know? Like, for instance, men are lonely these days. And whenever people want something from men, it's typically to sell them something, you know? When you see a self-help book, you know, it's typically not to help the men, but typically to get money from the men. Capitalism. Huzzah! Anyways, what a lot of men don't realize is that not really. What a lot of people don't realize is that society, the patriarchy, the world today was built for men. But it's not for all men. You know, it's built for the strong and the powerful men, the rich men, the white men, cis men, straight men. So when there's a man that is not powerful at all, not in a position of power, that's not necessarily like, you know, they're not super privileged. They do have a certain amount of privilege, yes, but we shouldn't give them shit for that. Like, they didn't choose to be born that way either, you know? I didn't choose to be born male. Neither did friends of mine. Same with people that are assigned male at birth, you know, that don't identify as male, they didn't choose to be male, you know. In fact, they chose the opposite. They chose to be something different. A lot of the time, you know, when they have an issue with that. Like, I know non-binary people that are, like, you know, fine with being identified that way, but they don't personally see themselves as men, and that's fine. I think it's good that there's labels and stuff like that. I love that there's communities for it, and there's more and more acceptance these days. But as it stands, there's still, like, the underlying issues of society, you know, being for the, like, built for the strong and powerful, rather than... Maybe I should go with the Urban XU2 Turbo nozzle. Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. Now we're cooking. So for a long time, people realized, okay, women need to be empowered. Which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Not at all. It's a good thing. Women should be empowered. Women should have more rights. You know? Equal rights. At some point, there was even a time when women would become lesbians. Not because they are, but rather because they didn't want to be with men. Or didn't want to give men the right to govern their lives. Which I think is an interesting take, but also... it's sort of toxic because it renders sexuality to a choice, you know? It makes it so that it's a choice, but in reality it's not. At the time, there were, like, a lot of people that realized, oh yeah, it's not a choice. But yeah, there were a lot of women that also just removed themselves from society in that regard, you know? Where they essentially said, yeah, fuck society. I'm just not gonna marry. Easy peasy. And that's good. That's cool. But at some point, it shifted away from that, luckily. Which is, again, it's like not a great way to see it. Bell Hooks, great author, feminist author, she basically wrote a book where she also criticized that, you know? Where it essentially alienated the men, you know? She talks about how it alienates the men and faults them for something that their predecessors, you know, other men who came before them did or said or whatnot, you know? When in reality, they themselves, they're not at fault for something that other men did. They might never have done anything. And that's something that we experience nowadays as well. Like, there's a lot of men that are getting faulted with some sort of original sin, you know? Some sort of European guilt, you know? About, like... oh, yeah, you're this and that and that and that, you know? And they have done none of those things, you know? I'll take care of that from above, I think. Spotlight is done. Let's work on this here. Look at me. What have I become? And yeah, what I mean when I say that it's a symptom, you know, that there's these popular male influencers and whatnot, you know, these days. It's not that they're the cause of a lot of issues. Yes, they perpetuate certain ideas and whatnot, but rather they're a symptom of a far deeper disease. And as long as we don't fix that disease, as long as we don't find a cure for it, I don't think there will be like, you know, I don't think that will fix men. And I don't think we'll stop seeing male influencers, you know? Like, as it stands, men are lonely, you know? And men are said to... they have to be strong and reliable and cold, I guess. And they have to... they can't show emotions still, you know? And when you do, you're not manly enough. You can't wear what you want, you know? Like, even if you wear a dress, you know, women can wear trousers just fine and they're not less feminine because of it. But men, if you wear a dress, you're suddenly less manly, you know? And that's an issue. But also men have to be providers. Men have to be good fathers, but they have to be strong and can't show emotions. They have to bring the bacon back home, you know? That's a construct, that's an idea that is rooted in the patriarchy, you know, that men have to be the hunters that provide for their families and whatnot. But nowadays, hold up. Nowadays, it's like there's a lot more college and university graduates that are female than there's ones that are men, you know? There's a lot of women that earn more than men, and most, like, casual, like, everyday dudes, you know? Like us here. And I think that's, on the one hand, it's like a good thing, obviously. But on the other hand, the fact that, like, that there's more women that earn more than men, just like how there's a lot of men that earn more than women, you know, it's just not, like, it just means that more women can be in positions of power, for instance, or jobs where they earn more, period, or that they can get a higher education in the first place. The fact that there's more women that do that is very good. But what we do also see is that men are still often expected to earn more than women. And there's a lot of women that will, for instance, expect that of men. And as such, a lot of men are alienated, you know, from romantic love. And it's not just sex, you know. A lot of people, like, there are, like, higher suicide rates, for instance, amongst men, and there are, like, the numbers rising, and a lot of people will just say good, and that's fucking weird. Don't say that. But also, like, you wouldn't say the same about if other groups of people, if they had higher suicide rate statistics, you know? But as it stands, like, there's a lot of men who are feeling lonely. They're experiencing touch deprivation. They can't hug anyone. They can't really talk to anyone about their feelings. And whenever they try to, they're being made fun of, you know? There's a lot of men that will say, just suck it up, you know? You're a man, right? The world was built for you. So why are you complaining? You can't complain. You're a man. It's the patriarchy, etc., you know? There's a lot of people that will argue that way. And I've seen it online. I've seen it on Twitch. I've seen it IRL. Where people just think that men chose to be born as men. Just like the weirdest conception in the world, you know? Being faulted for something that you have no control over whatsoever. Born into the wrong gender to be happy, I guess. So, in a way, men are being demonized. And I know that that's rhetoric, that's a word that a lot of these male influencers use, but it is a fact, you know. There's a lot of men that are being demonized by society, you know. That are being treated as, like, men are wolves, you know. When a daughter is told by her father, men are wolves, be careful, you know. And that's, I guess it's important that you warn people to be careful, but also men also have to be told, yeah, treat others with respect and respect, you know, all of that, you know, that, which is good, you know, that people do that. But why do we not go the other way around as well, you know? When I was younger, and still to this day, whenever I go to a party and whatnot, and I talk to my mom and my father, my mom always tells me that I need to watch my glass. I need to be careful what I drink. And that I don't accept drinks from strangers or open bottles. My mom tells me that. And I'm like a tall dude, I'm relatively strong. I'm kind of strong. I don't know. I don't have any money on me. I don't have any cash on me, you know. Why would they rob me? Or whatever. But still, she still worries about me and she still tells me to be careful. My father will tell me as well that I shouldn't stay out too late. And I should be careful when I go over the street, you know. I'm an adult man, you know. I'm a grown-ass man. But they still worry about me. And I'm saying that as in, like, it should be totally okay, like, for them. They should know for a fact that I'll be fine. But despite that, they still tell me to be careful of what I drink, what I eat, that I don't accept open bottles, open glasses from strangers and stuff, and the like. You know? I think that's important, that we educate our children equally, with respect and with open hearts, you know, and tell them that they need to be careful equally, you know, they need to treat others with respect, you know, no matter what gender they were assigned to at birth, you know. Children are children. We need to protect them. And our daughters and our sons and our non-binary children, you know, and whatever, you know. We need to, like, treat them all the same, you know. Of course, there's dangers that some experience, some are more likely to experience than others. But demonizing men as like some sort of creatures, you know, is not the way to go. And that's just childhood, you know, the upbringing. But then you think about, like, society. How does society treat it? Well, there's a lot of teachers that will nowadays talk about stuff like that, you know, topics like that, you know. And I'm not sure what how they do it like these days. But when I was in school, for instance, we talked about how the Bible, for instance, sees women. And we talked about how there's specific statistics for sexual violence, you know, with women, you know, and how that number is incredibly high, actually. And we talked about stuff like that, but we didn't really talk about feelings, you know, or how men feel, or how men are seen in society, you know. We didn't do that as much. Rather, you know, in our class, like ethics or in like social studies and whatnot, you know, that was kind of brushed over, which is bad, in my opinion. And it's something that I want to do better, I think. Just talking about gender stereotypes, norms, values, etc. What do we associate with a man anonymously? What do we associate with women anonymously, you know? What is something that applies to both or neither, according to this philosopher or this contemporary philosopher, for instance? Like, I'm a philosophy student and English studies student, you know. Later I'll be a teacher. I'll be a teacher and I'll teach English studies and philosophy. And I hope that I can make it so that when we have topics like roles and stereotypes, that I can possibly talk about all of them. Not all of them as in like, oh, every single one stereotype, but rather, why do we think that men have to be strong? Why do we think that women don't have to be strong? Or etc., you know? Why is one a problem? Or is it like that in reality, etc., you know? Stuff like that. I'm gonna take care of this section over here real quick because it's a bit harder to reach from the inside of that area. And then... oh. Nice. I think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in that retrospect, in that regard. Like, there's a lot of people that are being, that are lonely. They are being isolated, whatnot, from an early age, you know. Like, what do you do as a young boy in, like, secondary school if you feel lonely? You know, you talk to friends, I guess. But what happens if you don't have friends? What do you do when you need hugs, you know? People don't hug each other as much amongst boys in, like, school. But at university, it's a lot more common, you know. And I love that. I'm glad that it's more common to hug a homie. Or whatever, you know? Less so to kiss a homie, but that's a whole other topic. I'm glad that that's a thing. That we can hug each other and whatnot, you know? And I think hugs are great. I think more men just need a hug. But as it stands, like, a lot of times we're alienated with our feelings, you know? And we have to just suck it up and deal with it, you know? A while ago, there was this discourse about the male loneliness epidemic, you know? And a lot of people, especially women, but also like male feminists and whatnot, they treated it as like, have you tried smiling more? You know, making fun of it, you know? Rather than actually taking it seriously. Suicide rates are incredibly high amongst men. Let's make fun of that. Or some people said good. You know, again, that's fucked up. That's very fucked up. And heartless and weird. But, yeah. I don't know. I think male loneliness is a problem that society faces a lot. And it's something we have to kind of deal with by educating boys that it's fine to be not fine, you know? And the same goes for women, you know, that it's okay. Like, mental health is good. Like, taking care of your mental health, going to therapy is good. Like, knowing what numbers to call in an emergency, etc., is good. I think that's a good thing, you know? Having those resources available to you, you know? Knowing what to do in a panic attack when a friend is going through one. Doc, it's Leonard Colt's dad. When can you come around? I've got something filthy dirty for you. Oh my. Something filthy dirty, you say? But it's also like, again, it's like not the only solution, you know? I think, like, we need role models, obviously. Male role models. And these days, you know, like, one side... Let's act as if there's sides, you know? Let's act as if there's only two camps out there, you know? One side will tell men to suck it up, because the world was built for them, and they can't possibly feel bad in a world where they're so privileged. And where they have so much power. And after all they've done, you know, and whatnot, you know? Like, one side will do that. Or make fun of you for having feelings and showing weakness when you're supposed to be a strong man. And the other side is literally Andrew Tate, who says, hey, you're feeling bad? Stop that. Here's something you can do. You can work out. You can start a hustle culture. I don't know, some weird shit. And I think that's fine. Like, it gives them a purpose, a direction. What is not fine, though, is that the fact that Andrew Tate is someone that just sells courses to people to improve themselves. You know? And then those people sell those courses to other people. And if you think about it, that's just a pyramid scheme. At least that was what he did a while ago. Nowadays, it seems like he's doing human trafficking. I hope he doesn't give courses on that. You know. I'm not sure if that's an upgrade or a downgrade. Like, it's an upgrade in severity, that's for sure. But oi, no, no! Let me out. I mean, while I'm here, I might as well. I need to go running more. My ass is too dummy fake for this crevice. Never again. Actually, hold up. There we go. Ubu culture. Don't do hustle culture, do Ubu culture. But yeah. The dangerous part of it all is that people like Andrew Tate and all those other coaches that are online, you know, they give people a purpose. They give people actionable advice on how to be less lonely or less unhappy. Work out. I know it sounds stupid, but hey, a healthy body inhabits like a healthy mind inhabits a healthy body, you know, or whatever the saying is, you know. If you're healthy on the outside, your inside might also be healthy, you know. It's never bad to work out, right? So it's good actionable advice. On top of that, it gives them a goal to work towards. Even if they have no direction right now in life, they at least can work out and do something, you know? They can go running. It clears their mind. Look at what Forrest Gump did. He went running, and it helped, I guess. I should make an edit of... I'm sure there's already an edit of Forrest Gump running and having that monologue where he just ran. And he kept running. And he didn't know where he was running. And all of a sudden people were running after him and asking him where he's running. And he doesn't know. And, you know, that with like the alpha male influencer music. Wouldn't that be funny? It would be really funny, wouldn't it? That's my kind of humor. And then it just says, run. Where? Now. Anyways, it's less so the, like, even if the messaging at times, you know, that Tate and other people go for is flawed or negative or bad, you know, like with Kevin, the person that I mentioned earlier, Alpha Mentalität, who essentially says that women are stupid. And he doesn't say that just once or twice, he doesn't say it all the time. He says that they're westernized, verwestlicht, is in German, you know, westernized women. As in, like, Western women, I guess? Like, women in the West, as opposed to women in third world countries in, like, for instance, Africa, or in a lot of Asian countries where women don't have the same rights as men, you know. I guess he means that. Or in, like, the East, you know, in the Balkan states a lot, in the Slavic countries and whatnot. There's a lot of women over there that are easily to manipulate, I'd imagine, you know. A lot of people that he quotes, or that other people in that sort of bubble quote, also quote from other people that wrote books or have read books about, like, pickup artistry and whatnot, you know. There's some pickup artists out there. There was one cool video by H Bomber Guy about pickup artists a while ago, about this one dude who, I forgot his name, but he basically wrote a book about women in the Ukraine and women in Slovenia and stuff like that. And how he tricked them into sleeping with him by promising them a green card to like the US or something like that, you know? And it's wild stuff. Or was it H Bomber guy who talked about it, or was it someone else? It was someone in that bubble. Lefty BreadTube bubble, I guess. Video essays. I don't know. He basically talked about that. Someone talked about that. It was a guy, though. That's what I do know. I'm bad with names and faces. Let me be. Leave me be. If I find it, I'll post him in Discord. Either way, very disgusting behavior. And essentially, there's a lot of people that quote from that or talk about that. And alpha mentality, Kevin, you know, Kevin is one of those dudes who says stuff like, these women are westernized, by which he means like modern women who know what they want and have standards that you don't meet. Heck, they never interacted with you. They're just people on TikTok that talk about stuff, and you're just responding to them as if you knew them. What the hell? Anyways. So basically, Kevin talks about that a lot and criticizes them and whatnot, you know, and talks down on them, you know? And he's less uplifting. He doesn't give feasible advice for what people can do and whatnot. There's other people like that, like, what's it called? Think Before You Sleep, who's I don't know if he's far-right or alt-right or anything like that, but he certainly goes into that sort of bubble, where he basically shits on anyone that is fat. And keeps, like, making up shit, and there's a lot of, like, drama between him and some people that I watch. And, yeah. He's got like a lot of bad faith, and whenever he responds to stuff or looks at stuff, he looks at it in a very exclusively bad faith manner, you know? Where he doesn't even like allow any points that could be like, you know, oh, you could see at this point as a perfectly harmless statement, but he takes the most bad faith interpretation of a statement possible to make his point around, you know? Strawmanning at times, sometimes lying, sometimes cutting stuff together. And that sucks. And it's bad, you know? And don't do that. Like, if you have ill will towards other people, say so. Oh, he stole my knickers. You know, he stole my underwear a while ago. And gave me wedgies when I was young, and now I hate him. So that's my problem with him, or something like that. I don't know. And I'm sure he's got like a good head on his shoulders. Sometimes he says some very smart things, but it's the times when he doesn't that are the problem, you know? It's like the times that where he essentially says something incredibly stupid. It's like, you know, I like to give people the benefit of a doubt, and sometimes I watch like his video when someone that I watch typically makes a video on a video that he made, so I watch both sides, and then I realize, well, there's one side, there's one guy, you know, okay, at times he worked a bit uncleanly, like Noah Samson, for instance. Sometimes he does misunderstand something. Or he sometimes doesn't talk about this other thing, but he also doesn't want to make a 2-hour video on some random dude, you know? And sometimes those points are actually not that important at all. But like, for the most part, he works cleanly, I think. And meanwhile, a while ago, there was this video on Illumation that's a Think Before You Sleep did, that Noah Samson made a video about that because Think Before You Sleep, this one channel, essentially ended up making 5 videos on it or something like that. I'm not sure anymore. It's just memory because it's been a while since then. And Noah made a video on that called Think Before You Dox, and then another one to clarify something, you know? And that's because Illumation got doxed. And a lot of the rhetoric used in like the doxing thread, and a lot of the rhetoric used in like comments that she got were based on think before you sleep, saying things and misrepresenting points she made. She was talking about the ethics of food and how there isn't, it's something that I mentioned in the last episode as well, how there isn't, like chocolate isn't evil, you know, moral evil, you know, even when people make it seem that way. And similarly, carrots aren't good, like saints amongst foods or something like that because they're healthy. No, they're just healthy or unhealthy, you know, but even then, you know, whatever. And that's the point. And Think Before You Sleep made it seem as if she's telling people to eat as much as they want. And when there was like a scene, for instance, in that video, because it's like an animated video that she did, that Illy did, Illimation. I don't know the real name anymore. I think I knew at some point. I'm not sure. Anyways, in that video there was like a guy, like a little child, a little boy with apparently diabetes or something like that, doing his blood test, like blood sugar tests and whatnot, to see if he can eat a s'more. And when it's give a green light, he does eat into it. And those few frames, you know, were cut out. Like Think Before You Sleep genuinely just cut out those parts because they don't support his argument that he said, the argument that he says that Illimation is making, that you should eat as much as you want and whatnot, even if it kills you. That's not what she says. She says, as long as it's okay with your dietary like restrictions and whatnot, you should be able to eat anything you want. It says so in the video. There's literally, she says those words, and the animation supports that. And he cuts out the animation and her saying that because it makes it seem like he's arguing about a point she's not making, which he is doing as a straw man, you know? How did I get here? Right, men. Sometimes he says good stuff. Sometimes he says bad stuff. I watch him, like, most of the time I just watch his videos as, like, because, like, someone I watch made a video on him, and I want to know whether everything is truly as bad as it was shown, and most of the time it is as bad, you know? Like, in his video, like, Noah Samson, for instance, criticized how Think Before You Sleep often attacks people's looks as if he's trying to make a point, but then claims that he is doing it to show his viewers what makeup or like a bit of sports or whatever, you know, they can self-improvement, you know, self-improvement. It's under the guise of giving advice, you know. But if the people in question didn't want the advice specifically from you, and what does it matter if you don't find them pretty? If you don't find them pretty, don't look somewhere else. I don't know. So, what ended up happening was that Think Before You Sleep made a video on Noah talking about the situation, insinuating that Noah was calling him out for accusing him of doxing, which isn't what happened. He said that because he made that video, a lot more people got under the impression that the original video by Illimation was actually about something completely different, and that she was literally telling people to eat themselves to death if they have diabetes and stuff like that, which is not what she said at all, and that a lot of people use that rhetoric and whatnot. So it's reasonable to believe that, you know, he shares some responsibility, but it's not like he's responsible, you know? And it goes into that as well, and it's semantics and whatnot. Even me saying that right now isn't like the actual wording and whatnot, and it's a bit complicated, you know? But yeah, ethics and morality are like completely different topics, you know? the morality of things and the ethics of things, you know? This is metal. I'm gonna use the Shup, the metal cleaner right here. I just noticed that if you look at the bottle down here, you see that? It gets more empty over time. Look. You see that? Oh, that's so cool. I didn't notice that until now. Anyway, sorry. I think Before You Sleep has probably a good head on his shoulders. You know, he just doesn't use it. And so a lot of the time he will make this excuse that he's only attacking... He's not attacking people's looks. He's actually just giving advice on how they could improve their appearance, you know, and using it as an example for his viewers, you know. But in reality, he's just calling, like, literally in the first few minutes of his, like, 2-hour video on Noah Samson, he calls him out for being fat, apparently, you know. Not actually his wording, but he says, why would you choose to look like this if you could also look like this? You know, like you did before. And it's the same person and whatnot, you know, and it's very... You look ugly and whatnot. And just attacks his look, you know, and... Again, Noah didn't ask for advice. And I'm not going to defend him. Like, I don't know what Noah wanted. But I don't think... Like... That's just ad hominem, you know, that's just you insulting the person rather than the... You're attacking the person rather than attacking the argument you're making. And the whole, oh, no, I didn't say you're ugly, I just gave advice for my community. It's sort of like a modern Bailey argument, just bad and not functioning, you know? Multi-purpose, let's go. You know, it doesn't work that way. You can't just attack people and then say, oh, I was just giving advice. Nobody wanted your advice. You know, nobody asked for it. Telling a woman she's fat. Or something like that. Because she's wearing clothes that she's comfortable in. You know, it's kind of weird, especially as a man, you know. Like, oh, I'm just giving advice on how you should dress. Like, what's next? Next up, we're gonna tell women that they shouldn't dress too lightly or they get sexually assaulted, you know? It's just advice, you know? I'm not blaming you for stuff that happened to you or other people. It's just advice, you know? I don't know, man. That's weird. It's weird behavior. I don't do that. Obviously not what he did, but it's like that sort of logic. That's the logic that he uses. And I find that very weak. Look, if you're gonna insult someone, just insult them already, you know? It's like those people that call you a F-A star. I'm like, look, if you're gonna call me a homophobic slur because I'm queer or whatever, you know, just use the fucking slur. It's not that hard. If you want to use the word, use it. Otherwise, I'll think you're describing family. Yeah, family would work. You family. Oh, thank you. You see me as family. You accept me into your inner circle. Is that it? That's gotta be it, right? Right? That's gotta be it, right? And I've seen that online as well. It's weird. Especially on my blog. You know. And again, like, I'm not saying that people, like, think before you sleep should stop what they're doing. It's more so, think more about what you're doing before you upload. You know? Oh, we ended up cleaning that by accident. We ended up cleaning this, holy, by accident. 81%. Only 19 more to go. There we go. Wrong button. gonna clean this section. I'm gonna clean this section. Do. Clean this section with rock and roll. Do. I'm gonna use the 0-degree nozzle. In fact, I'm gonna use the turbo nozzle. But like, you know, people like that are essentially entitled to make whatever they want to make, you know? But just because you're free and entitled to say and do whatever you want, you know, freedom of speech, as long as it's not hate speech or personal attacks. Oh, wait. And as long as it complies with a platform that, with the terms of service of a platform that you're sending it to, you know? You can do whatever you want. And if someone reports you for it, you know, and says, hey, this person did hate speech, for instance, you know, they, like, I'm not saying that that person did it. I'm just saying that if someone were to do that, you know, a report would only do so much. You'd have to actually have done it to be able to... I don't know. Get removed, get punished for what you've done. And even then, it's like... it's the result, it's the consequence of your actions. It's almost as if an action... Look, you know physics, actio reactio, you know? Like, if you insult someone, chances are they might punch you. And if you punch them back, you can't claim, oh yeah, that's your self-defense, right? No. I mean, it might be. I don't know. When you insult someone and they insult you back and you punch them because they insulted you, you know? That's not self-defense. You felt threatened. No, that's just, scummy? I don't know. Weird. Don't punch people. The early example was bad because it's, like, kind of insinuates that you can punch someone simply for insulting you. When in reality, violence is never the option. Unless it's in self-defense. But even then, you know, running is often better. Just run, monk ass. When I did a self-defense course, I was told to run. Or punch back and then run. You know, throat punch, run. Stuff like that. Always just, but running is better. Always running. Only fight if you really have to. But even then, run. You know? More tea. More tea, more good. Nice. So, what I wanted to say was essentially, there's a lot of channels that will have a certain rhetoric and whatnot, and a lot of people have certain values in mind, I think, you know? Like, they have certain things that they want to say and they want to do and whatnot, and it's less so a problem about the good stuff they say and the actionable advice they give to men, young men, you know, especially. That is the problem. But more so, it's a problem of the actual, like... It's a problem when you give advice that hurts others, or when you attack others. You know, like Alpha Kevin. I'm sure he's got some good advice somewhere, he just hasn't posted it yet. Because most of it is just how to creep on women, one-on-one. And that's bad, because if it doesn't help, you know, those people will most likely blame the women for the advice not working, rather than the advice being shit for not working. Like, he literally made a video about signs that a woman likes you, but it's signs that, like, half of it is just signs that they're uncomfortable around you, you know? It's weird. Like, weird human behavior. Don't be like that. Let's finish this side actually before we go on to the next one. It's weirdo behavior. Don't bother people. Respect personal boundaries. You know. So yeah, long story short. A lot of these channels are not necessarily the sickness, but they are the symptom. The sickness is actually the patriarchy and capitalism. It's all deeply rooted in capitalism. The only reason why someone's trying to help men out there is so that they can sell books to them, or courses, you know, or scam them in some other way. A lot of the time, it's not even like what they believe. It's literally just a grift, you know. Look at all the conservative people like Matt Walsh or Paul Davis who make videos on stuff and claim to be for men's rights. Well, they don't know a shit about your situation. They can't even put themselves in your shoes because your shoes are too cheap for them. You know, they're rich people. They make moolah. Lots of it. And they... Porter, you know? Porter being the Albanian word for money. Not to be confused with pere, which is the Albanian word for leek. Anyways, the more you know. No, I don't think it's like the actual sickness to this all, you know, is capitalism. It all comes down to capitalism. No, it's human greed more so than capitalism. I think capitalism can work, but we're in a bit of a perverse system where landlords can overcharge you for your apartment and in the worst case kick you out if you can't pay for that, you know? And you have literally no other choice because you need to live somewhere or else you get put into jail because you can't pay specific expenses or your taxes. You need a residence, and to have a job, to function in society, you need an apartment. So landlords are evil. I don't know, I just very much summarized that whole thing into a bunch of blurbs and thoughts, and it was supposed to sound like a joke. Even when some of it is true. It's just that, in reality, it's much more complex than that. And some of that stuff was untrue. Like the needing an apartment to have a job. It helps, but it's not needed. But still. Like, to get help socially in Germany, for instance, to get, like, the money that helps you out, you need a residence. If you don't have a residence... sucks to suck. You're on the street then. And then you don't have any way of getting the help that the government issues you. Like Bürgergeld, which could help you with paying your apartment. Let's take care of a frame here. Nice. And the glass. Nearly, I thought I fell off there for a moment. Nice. Fell off long ago. 11 views in 3 days. Something like that. I've seen that a lot lately. Comments like that on videos. I don't know, it's weird. Weirdo behavior. Anyways, yeah. I think what's kind of dangerous as well is that whenever people use, like with Jordan Peterson, for instance, you know, whenever he says something that is kind of sus, you know, kind of, how do you say it? Whenever he has a thing to say that is dangerous at times even, you know? Or that is problematic because it targets a whole group of people, like trans people, for instance, you know? He mixes it into talks and videos where he also says perfectly reasonable, perfectly fine things like, you have to brush your teeth. And I'm like, yeah, of course you have to brush your teeth. But they don't want you to do that. They don't want you to know that because they hold you back, you know. They believe I'm lying, but I'm just saying you need to tidy up your apartment. And I'm like, whoa, they want to stop me from believing that I need to tidy up my apartment? They're so stupid. But in reality, nobody argues against that. Everyone argues against everything else. You're just setting up a decoy argument to protect yourself against something. It's like a reverse strawman. Maybe it is also just a strawman. I think I need to grab the thing. Ooh. Office cladding, office cladding. That's the same thing. So it gets the most... It gets, like, stuff done. We're getting stuff done. Where is my thingy? Thingy, thing. It says ooh. Oh my god. I forgot a whole section. Hey! That's clean now. But yeah, right. What men need is, I think, good role models. And in Tate and Peterson and some other people, they do find them, I guess. But those role models aren't as good as those people might think. You know, and it can be dangerous. Like if parents let their children just watch anything, for instance, on YouTube, which is a problem in its own, by the way, but like it can be problematic. Like that's where people get their values from then, you know, if it's like ideological content, you know, it's indoctrination. Oh no, I use the buzzword that the right-wing people use. Wow, shots fired. Indoctrination. Conservative politics in YouTube videos? Conservative values? Oh my god. No way. Indoctrination when it's something I agree with? I mean, as in like conservative parents. I don't know. I don't know where that was going. I just thought it was kind of funny. No, but long story short, we need to be a bit aware of that. And we need to stop like treating it as if it was like this forbidden thing. You know, oh no, they're watching Tate. They can't watch Tate. Don't you know that when people see something that is forbidden, they want to try it even more? It's like the Streisand effect, but with drugs and alcohol and tobacco and coffee and all the bad things. Coffee bad too, I know. Got addicted to it. It's a drug. painkillers. If you limit, like, if you tell people to not do something because bad for them, you know, a lot of kids are stupid enough to just do it. You know, because their brains are not well developed. Instead, we should rather, in my opinion, we should rather, instead of doing that, you know, think about, hey, my boy, why do you watch this guy? And not in a judgy way, but more so in a help me help you. Let me understand why you like this, you know? Tell me about it, you know? Why do you watch his clips or whatever, videos of him, compilations, etc., you know? And they'll tell you, and that's an open discussion with someone. You don't judge them, you hear them out. And I think that's just the way it goes with anything, you know? With any interest, etc. I think it's better that way, you know? Like my parents did bad stuff sometimes. But they also, when I was really into metal, they asked me what kind of music I was listening to. And I showed it to them. And they told me to turn it off. But they didn't judge me. You know, they did think that it's just noise. And they couldn't understand really why I liked it. But they didn't judge me for it. Instead, they let me just enjoy my thing, you know. Look, it's my thing. You don't have to like it if you don't want to. That's fine. I like it. And I think that's very cool. Of course, you know, having them ask me, hey, why do you like it? Or if I want to also listen to this, what would you recommend? You know, would have been even cooler, don't get me wrong. But while they did ask me to not play it on speaker, they did also not ask me to stop listening to it, period. You know, they didn't forbid me from listening to it, which I believe is a good thing. You know? And look at me now. Now I talk to myself for hours upon hours while I clean virtual houses. Meanwhile, I still have to do my dishes. I swear, I would play a dishwashing simulator. I would just play a dishwashing simulator, but I would refuse to do my own dishes. I mean, I do my own dishes. It's just that I procrastinate and I don't want to do it immediately and stuff like that, you know? I haven't eaten yet. I might go for dinner today because I did buy groceries. Over here in Germany on Sundays we don't have, like, grocery stores are closed. So you buy your groceries on Saturdays. Which is cool and all. But I went and bought, like, some stuff and eggs and whatnot, you know. But I forgot to buy bread. And I know it's not a big deal typically, but the Albanian word for bread is book. And the Albanian word for food is also book. And that's because we eat bread with all our food. I could make pasta, and I think that would still count as bread. Obviously. I might actually do that. I still have pasta that I wanted to get rid of, because I wanted to buy more rice. I got rice as well. Look, my shelf is only so big, you know? And sometimes you want to fill it with other pasta. I think that's fine. alt-set is faster, you know. It's been old. It's getting old. But I still want to use it up before I use all the other paths. I'm not sure. I don't think it goes bad because it's like, you know, it's dehydrated dough. Look. But still. What did I want to say? Right. I think it's rather than trying to demonize men, and that's something that's happening, you know, we should teach our children about equality. And treat them the same, you know, as children. They're just children. They're precious. We need to protect them, you know? And rather than trying to stop them from interacting with certain content on the internet and whatnot altogether, you know? Like, that is... Like, look, when it comes to, like, pornography, let's say it like that. I know that YouTube hates that, so I'm not sure what to do about it. I'm not sure if it affects me at all, to be fair. But, like, you know, let's say with adult movies, certain adult movies, we obviously don't want our children to watch that, so we stop them from doing that. You know, there's parental guides, not, you know, you have, like, filters that you set up so that your children don't get to see that stuff, you know? Or super violent stuff, you know? That's cool. They might find a way to do it, but you can protect them, and you can limit their time online, and you can also spend that time together with them, you know, watch it together with them rather than just putting them in front of their phone. I think that's a better idea, actually. But rather than just forbidding them outright, let's say you have a tween, you know, you don't have the time necessarily, and they spend a lot of the time on the internet and watch videos and whatnot, you know. There's some teen, you know, and there's some teen child, and you notice they watch and retain. And rather than forbidding them from watching or consuming the tatedness, you know, ask them why they watch it. I think that's the best way of handling it. Because then they explain it, and then you understand, oh, I can give them actual advice on this as well, you know? You can talk about what's problematic about it, too. And, like, actually help them understand why you are opposed to it, for instance, you know? I know a lot of parents out there will forbid their children from consuming certain content altogether. And that's, like, it gives all them, like, it has the counter reaction. Like, every action has a reaction, you know? And as such, every person out there will just end up trying to harm them, you know, in a way, you know, like... No. What am I saying? Sorry about that. I got distracted. Because there was an ambulance, and then I thought of harm, and then... As in, like, someone got harmed, and then... Suddenly I was talking about that. No, I meant as in... Like, there will be people that will watch certain stuff, you know. And if you have a child, for instance, you know, you don't want to forbid them outright to watch certain stuff, you know. Rather, tell them, hey, they're not ready for that yet. Or, let's watch it together. You know, stuff like that. And that also helps with developing a male role model. Because, like, if you're a father, for instance, and you have a boy, then watching it together means that you spend some time together. You bond. It's bonding time, you know. And that's good. Bonding good. Where is my letter? Where's my mind? Do, 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 do. There we go. Anyhow, what I wanted to get at is that people like Tate aren't the cause of, like, they aren't the root of all evil. Like, even when he's gone, you know, there will be more people like him, you know? And that's fine, I think, because in the end, men are being demonized and, like, ostracized a lot of the time, you know? They're expected to earn more than women, but a lot of the time women earn more than them. They're expected to have this and this and this level of education, but a lot of the time they don't have the opportunity to get that level of education. They're expected to be kind-hearted and treat others nicely, just like how their male role models would, but they don't have male role models, which would be a first step either way. You know, having more male teachers, for instance, at the early stages of life would be a great way of making people kinder and more respectful, you know? Drill tower window sills, fire exit roof, and office walls. We got, this is the fire exit roof over here, so we're taking care of that. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that essentially there's a lot of problems in society, and the fact that men are being ostracized in a certain way, and that men feel isolated and sad, you know, and don't have any way of dealing with that is a problem, you know. Let's introduce some sports, for instance. That would be a great way to fix that, possibly. Office walls. That's just normal wall. But yeah, essentially, there's a lot we need to do, and we need to make sure that the next generation of men does it better, you know? And that they feel better and that they're more comfortable with living a life, you know, in a society and whatnot. Because, as I get, again, like, male loneliness is a problem, and yeah. A lot of people act as if it's just a matter of having more or less sex or something like that, but that's not at all the issue. Like intimacy, friendships, true friendships with other men, with other women, other people, you know, companionship, just people that are there for you and that will listen to your worries, you know, stuff like that. Hugs, holding hands, cuddling. We should normalize cuddling with friends. And a lot of people don't realize that, you know, it's not about sex, you know, anything like that. It's more so just about intimacy that is non-sexual, you know? I don't know where that dirt is supposed to be. Because looking at this stuff is not giving me any signs. Garage door. It's a food market. Let me just go real quick over here and try to take care of the drill tower window sills. Office walls too. It's not just one wall. It's more. Oh, office wall. Maybe it's one of these here. What in the world? It probably is over here. we're done with this. We just need a little bit extra. Where could the dirt be? Office walls. Is there such a thing as a dirt radar? That would be fantastic. No, but yeah, we need to kind of take care of people. Not just kind of, we need to do it. And like stop blaming them for stuff that they're not at fault for, you know? A lot of people act as if it's just a matter of, like, again, having sex or whatever, or being successful in a world that was crafted for you. No, it wasn't crafted for you. It was crafted for the successful men, the rich men. The powerful men, you know, the bosses, your boss, and whatnot, you know? Something that I notice is that when I want to make friends with, like, people who are female, for instance, as an example, I have a fear that that anything I do might be considered, oh, romantic, when it's really not that. I have no romantic interest in them. I'm just literally wanting to be friends with them. But in those cases, I'm left with like a situation where I'm afraid to do so. I literally, like, I can't do that, you know? Anything I say needs to be perfectly crafted as a sentence, or else they might get the wrong impression, you know? And that sucks. Because it makes stuff like that very stressful, you know? Same with the fear of being ghosted all of a sudden, because they think, oh, maybe they have feelings for me and they're not saying, or something like that. Or maybe you're being a creep all of a sudden when you're just being normal. I don't know. Stuff like that. And it sucks. It's a sucky feeling. I think this is done. We just need literally 1 star from like some office wall that is still dirty. Like when I spam tab here, I don't see anything orangish either. So it might just not be any of these. Is there perhaps a secret office wall somewhere here? Maybe the dirt is shy? Oh, wait. Wow. Seriously? Hey, FA, any chance you can hose down our spare truck? The mayor's running as ragged over here. Sounds good. Let's do this. Let's look at that. Look at me just going through that whole thing, you know. I'm somehow flying through that. I look all purple and dapper. 100%. We got 1,100 in earnings. We can go back into the shop actually here and get more power washers. The heavy duty ones. Just a bit better. Prime Vista 3000. Now I need to buy new nozzles and stuff for that too, though. Prime Vista Pro short extension. It's long, or do they use the same nozzles? I wonder if they use the same nozzles. Vista Pro 3000. Ah, yeah, Prime Vista 3000 turbo nozzle. Cool. And then there's the short extension over here. And the long extension over there. And the soap nozzle. And yeah. Now we have no more money. Okay, fantastic. I'll do another job next time. Let's summarize real quick. Let's just go over here. Whoop. Onto this. That looks nice, man. Is there a photo booth? Washing mode legacy. Interesting. Doesn't seem like it. Just do it like this. I can just add that later. What I wanted to say was overall that it's more so that we have to fight the cause of these issues than fighting symptoms of the issue, you know? Like if your finger hurts whenever you touch your elbow or your leg or your face, and chances are high that your finger is broken. So instead of trying to fix your elbow, your leg, and your face, it would be wise to fix the finger that is broken, right? So that's that. Today we ended up talking about a lot of things. We went from dating, online dating, because I just randomly started talking about that and how it's very different and how it's being used in a very gambling kind of way, you know. And then we went from that to live service games and monetization in games before eventually talking about men and masculinity and grifters and stuff like that. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I had a fantastic time. I hope you had a fantastic time too. We ended up cleaning a lot in Power Wash Sim, and it's a cool game, you know. I'm having fun with this, and I hope you had a phenomenal time. It's been nearly 3 hours. Just noticed that. I just noticed that it's been nearly 3 hours here. Oops. Lots of tea. If you like this, feel free to let me know about other topics that you want me to talk about, so that I don't go off the rails like today. And I'll upload these probably like maybe weekly, maybe bi-weekly. I'm not sure yet. I'll figure that out. But what I do know is that people that support me on Ko-fi, if you want to, link in the description, or on Twitch, will have access to it as long as they're part of a Discord server that we have, the Crypt. If you're part of that and have your accounts linked, you know, you'll be able to access a channel where the unlisted videos are available to watch ahead of the time, you know? If you want to have some background noise or something like that. But yeah, hope you have a fantastic rest of your night, day, morning, whatever time zone it is right now. And I'll see you next time. This is Magi. Bye-bye.